We'll be live here. There we are. We're live right now.
Awesome.
We are live in a couple places on Facebook. We're on the LinkedIn's. We're on the YouTubes. We're on the, we're almost on the Instagram. I always forget. I got to hit an extra button on Instagram. Now we're live on Instagram too. If people tune in on Facebook, when you're out there and you guys are tuning in on Facebook, go over to the Best Damn Bookkeeping stream. That way, when you comment, I can put it up on the screen and Michael and I can, do the back and forth thing with you. Because if you comment on a personal feed, it doesn't like pick up in StreamYard, which is what we're using to do this show. And then I can't put it on the stream. I can see it on my phone. I'll be watching on my phone. And if you comment there, I'll scold you like I do with my children. And I'll tell you to get over to the Best Damn Bookkeeping page and drop your comments there. So bear with me while I do my producer side of this thing and get us in all the places we need to be. There we go. All right, here we go. The link is officially on my personal feed. And we're live in the Best Damn Bookkeeping and all over the place. And we got Michael Hinderliter in the house on this fine Wednesday evening. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing absolutely great, except for this little
you got the eye poke.
On my eye. Yeah.
Got the eye poke. Was it like a routine procedure? Was it a fist fight and like you should see the other guy sort of thing? What are we talking about here?
It'd be fun to have a story like that, I think, to tell.
I mean, you can make it up. It's your story,
I know it. I was thinking on the way over there, what could I make up about? Maybe I went hunting and I was shooting at night, like I actually did this once. I was scoping a hog at night, dark, and I wasn't paying attention, and I took the gun and I slipped it under my armpit and got my it hit me real hard, and I was like, dang it, what the hell was I thinking? Excuse me. And then I felt running down my face.
Yeah, you got that one.
So,
everybody's good for one of those in a lifetime.
But there was a little bump right here, and I just went into the dermatologist to get it checked out, and he goes, I think it's all right, but we're going to do a biopsy on it just in case. So I'll find out in 2 weeks. Not too worried about it, but
check it out.
Just precautionary for the most part. And
I hear you.
Injected all this fluid and numbing, and afterwards, like, oh dang.
Yeah, what's worse, that or going to the dentist where they have to numb you, and then you're like half drooling the rest of the day, and you're like,
right.
And you talk, and your mouth feels like it's hanging down.
Yeah.
I had an interesting eye poke. I have my bar scene behind me, but there's 3 turkey fans behind me that all came from this spring. One hunt, I got my daughter and I doubled up, and that was super cool. The other hunt was the eye poking type of hunt. I chased down a one-legged tom. Well, I didn't chase him down. He got away. I tried to stalk up on him because I was like, one leg, how hard can this be? Joe Devino's in the house. Joe's probably heard me tell this story a dozen times. Took a crack at this one-legged tom as he was like half running, half flying away. And he rounded a corner, and I was like, did I get him? Or, like knock him down at least? And I ran over there, and he wasn't there, and I'm looking for him, and I was like, I'll go poke in the woods and see if I see him. And I took like 3 steps in the woods and just got that lone branch right into the eyeball. And I proceeded to cry for like an hour or two. I mean, not tears of joy, not tears of sorrow, just tears of sheer like eye gouge pain, like whatever that is. I just pour water. I had a couple turkey encounters after that, to where I was like trying to line up on the left side. I'm right eye dominant, but I'm like holding my shotgun in my left hand. Like, I think I could do it if I had to. I eventually was just so defeated. I left, went back to my parents' house. I think I showered, and I was like making a pot of coffee. And on my trail camera in the neighboring like 10 acres of woods, I had like 3 toms that had just gone by 20 minutes earlier. So I ran out, made a couple calls, nothing called back, went back in the house, did the shower and pouring coffee. And as I'm pouring my cup of coffee, I look outside, like, son of a gun. There's a tom standing right where I had called from. Like, he just came in Silent Bob style and was hanging out. And I quick threw a couple layers on, ran out there, and like got behind the mound system behind my parents' house, like, I don't know, a couple 100 yards back there. And I called him back, and then he got into range, and I was like, I forgot I need to shoot this thing left-handed. And I'm like lining them up with my right eye. And, I don't know which head to shoot because I'm seeing a couple of them. and I put the bead in between them and pulled the trigger, and he folded. So if you ever get in that spot where your eyes kind of blurry and you're seeing double or triple, maybe just take a weighted average type of situation and let it rip, and it should work out, is my experience.
Kind of like in Tombstone. I got a gun for each of you.
yeah. It's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
It's happy hour, so if you need to grab a beverage, feel free. I am.
Yeah.
What do you got over there?
All I got's water.
I'm basically drinking a water. I'm in my notorious Thanksgiving weekend through pre-Christmas dry period. Try to make it like a 4-week stretch in there. So I'm having an NA beer tonight.
Oh, there you go. I was actually planning on bringing some Topo Chico mineral water with me, and I left the house without it. Forgot it. Doggone it.
Just too excited. You're just too excited.
Yes, exactly.
Before we jumped on, we were talking about the mute button incident that we experienced when we first tried to get on here. And it reminded me of a fishing story we had. I was out salmon fishing, like 5 miles out in Lake Michigan. We're a ways from the harbor mouth, and we had gone quite a ways north of getting back home, and it's like 4 or 5 foot waves in a 24-foot boat. The type of waves where you're like, should we really be out here right now type of waves? Yeah. And so we would troll with the waves for salmon. And then our plan was to pull lines and motor back. And we pulled the lines and we went to motor back, and the big motor wouldn't start. Luckily, we had a kicker motor. And so we got, pushing a fiberglass 24-foot boat. We got this little 9.9 kicker motor just cranking away. And we got it all the way back in. We got it trailered, which with the kicker motor was quite the hilarious thing for any observers. And we had dropped the boat off at the marina to like have somebody check out the motor. And my buddy Duke was like calling other friends and explaining the situation. One guy goes, well, did you check the kill switch? He's like, why would the kill switch have been flipped? Like we motored out there. He's like, it sounds to me like a kill switch situation. And we quick ran over to the marina, and sure enough, one of us had bumped the kill switch as we were driving the boat. That was it. All we needed to do was flip the kill switch, but instead we motored into 4 or 5 foot waves for like 2 hours with that little motor. It took forever, but
yeah,
you found the mute button.
I had a wake, or my first wake surfing boat. I took it in for warning. I think I had it for like 2 months, and the engine wouldn't start. Man, I was so frustrated. So I took it in, and he goes, "You got it in neutral?" I said, "Yeah, it's in the neutral position and all that." He goes, so I take it in, drop off the boat. I climb up. I go, "What'd you find wrong?" He goes, "We didn't find anything wrong with it. Everything's fine. It's just good." He goes, I don't know what happened. And I got to thinking about, that kill switch was turned off, and he just didn't want to embarrass me.
Yeah. He didn't want to tell me about it.
Yeah.
Everything's working fine for us.
Yeah. It's all good.
It's a sneaky switch. It's like the last thing. It's the old, like, you always find your wallet in the last place you look. Yeah. So you always find your kill switches turned off because it is the last place you look when your motor's not working. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't take you too long to look there. How besides all the mishaps that we have in our hunting and fishing lives, how the heck is everything else going for you?
Oh man, you know what? It's been a pretty good year. I don't know. I did a reel on my birthday. I just turned 59, and 1 more year on the big 6-0. So that's actually a milestone. And
that's wild.
I have my first grandchild's coming January 1st, so I'm excited about that.
You're graduating. Yeah. You're graduating.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And I keep telling my daughter, because she's doing what we did when she was born. We're not going to find out till she's born, but I keep saying it's going to be a grandson, and she gets a kick out of that.
I like it.
Yeah, because she found out I always wanted a boy, and then when she was born, she was a girl, and that's the only one I got. So one day she says, "Dad, I heard you wanted a boy, but you got a girl." I said, "Would you think that makes me any less happy?" And like, you just got raised a little different than most of the other girls, because you're my little hunting buddy and everything else.
That's right. You get the full experience. You're well rounded.
Yeah. But it's been a great year, really. I mean, it started off pretty frustrating. That reel I'm talking about, I started off, one of my companies lost $1 million, and I never had taken that kind of loss in a year.
Yeah.
Usually if one was down, one or two of the others would make up for the loss. I was still profitable at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And, you have the ups and downs, but
Yeah.
I just dove in. I pulled back from social media. I just focused on what my core group and basic started making some changes, and I leaned in. I think I will say there were two things for me personally that really gave me a paradigm or perspective shift in how I focused on everything. And you've been around for a long time. I've been on Facebook a lot, and I talk about a lot of helpful tips, life improving tips, and things like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, those concepts come out, but you don't always practice them that well in real life.
Yeah. It's like it's easier to say than it is to do, for sure.
Yeah. But this one, like, I didn't go out and say anything about it, but I can tell you, I practice this every day now. And it was a shift when I took the approach that I am responsible. I'm responsible for everything that happens in my life. I am here because of decisions I've made along the way, whether they be good or bad. I've allowed people or situations into my life, or I wasn't putting up the right boundaries. I didn't make the right changes. And instinctively, I can reflect on it and know, like, hey, I should have made these changes a long time ago. I should have done this. It's on me. And you can't sit there and take a look at it and say, if just this person wasn't there and I need this different person, that's going to fix the situation. No, it always starts with you, and always starts with you. So that was the big shift for me. And then the second thing was you can be responsible about taking ownership of everything that happens in your life. And that shift, it makes you look at everything completely different. And what it does is that when you do that, if you ruminate on past problems or past issues, and we all do this, and you have this default loop that plays in your mind, and it's ruminating or thinking about things and thinking about either what you can do today, tomorrow, in the past. And if you're thinking on the past a lot, well, you're living in the past. And when you take ownership and say, I'm responsible, rumination goes away.
Yeah.
And so
just moving on.
Yeah. And so I had to catch myself at times. And because of the way our minds work, you can ruminate and say, I need to stop doing that. But you bring it into your conscious mind. I know I'm getting really, really kind of deep here.
I'm getting deep.
Yeah. And you say, I'm not, like, verbally express it like that's not who I am. I'm not going to think that's in the past. I don't live that way anymore. And say it out loud. Literally say it out loud, because it brings it into your conscious mind, and your conscious mind feeds the subconscious mind. And then the more you do it, and I focused on this for about 3 months, and it got to where my default mental loop changed. It shifted.
Yeah.
And it went away. And now I will admit that sometimes those memories still come back, but they don't bring the same emotion. They don't bring the same thoughts. And it's easy to just, like, move on from it.
Yeah. I had that's profound, because it
straight off too much from where you want to go.
It takes a while. I mean, like you said, it has to be so intentional. It takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
I restarted my bookkeeping business, obviously. And
I remember
in my departure of my old one, like, a few people got, like, really burned. And it, like, created some Dan Plata haters. And I don't, like, maybe I've had haters before, I didn't know it, or I was just oblivious to it.
Yeah.
But there were, like, some outspoken Dan Plata haters. And, like, I took it so personal, right? And it was like, of all the things that would keep me up at night, that was it. Was this feeling that I let people down, but I was like, no, it wasn't me, right? It wasn't me. And to exactly what you said is like, well, it wasn't really anybody else either. So it was me, and I just got to own it. Like, there's things I could have done better to prepare the people that took over their stuff. There's things I could have done better to prepare them for the way that things were taken over, or like the processes we built or how we went about building processes. And it took me like way longer than I'd like to admit to like get past that eat me alive. Because like you said, if you just ruminate on it, it doesn't create a positive activity. It just eats at you, and you get salty, you get sour, and in your mind, it turns into blame really quick, which doesn't do any good. Like it just all that really happens. Like in the real world, all that happens is that problem's not solved. You just have a bunch of arguments in your head, and then the next person you interact with gets you in a shitty mood. Because if you're ruminating on it, you're probably in a bad mood. And your next interaction is like person walks in and doesn't realize that you're busy having arguments in your head, and they get salty Dan or salty Mike.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then you become that person that's always in, like you said, that's in the bad mood. And I just seen Tim Fields. I love Big Mike. Yeah,
Tim Fields is in the house. Joe Devino says, Tim, that's why I have a cardboard cutout of him at my shop, and I can vouch for that. There's a cardboard cutout of you in Joe's shop. You're the guest of honor at any team meeting. Jeremy Jennings checking in from SoCal. What's up, Jeremy? Good to hear from you, man.
He's always out there fishing.
Gotta be. He's always fishing somewhere. I know that.
Yeah.
Jeremy, we got a Mexico fishing trip next August. He's already on it. He's already got the plans. He's already like booking the things. The captain reached out to me on Facebook today and was already laying plans out. I'm like, you guys, I still got ice fishing to do. I still got turkey hunting to do. I still got, spring walleye fishing to do here. We're talking about next August going ocean fishing. So always something to look forward to.
So to continue with the mindset shift, and so that was probably the first quarter up until about May, and then I decided to do a trip with my daughter to Iceland, and I was really kind of twisted on whether I should leave or stay because things weren't quite where I wanted them. I said, you know what, I got to live life too. Went to Iceland with my daughter for a week, probably a little longer than that, and I tell you what. Iceland wasn't my choice just because I have a really good friend and his family goes on these 2 or 3 month long vacations and they invite me to join them for a couple of days on their trip. And so we generally try to do my own thing and then catch up with them too. And Iceland was a place we never went. My daughter wanted to go, but that place is something else. I highly recommend doing it. I had no idea how beautiful it was going to be and how different. It's like being in a different world. Like it was so cool.
Yeah, not actually covered in ice.
Yeah, volcanic, lava flows, fresh and old, all over the place. There's 3 ice caps there, and they're melting. So there's waterfalls everywhere. Like it was so cool. Yeah. And then so I did that, and then came back here, and of course, first part of the year had made several staffing changes. And I actually have a company Christmas party this Friday, and it made me think about what I said at the last company Christmas party, and that is, I was focusing on creating trust in the business, trust across the board. And for me, trust is when people's actions and words align.
Yeah,
that's trust. That's how you build trust with people. And if you got someone on your team, and if you're not doing it, you need to find the right people where actions and words align, and your actions and words have to align, or people aren't going to follow you. So that was a big push for me the first part of the year, several staffing changes. And as we went through the year, like things kept getting better and better and better. I won't say that like not everything got where I exactly wanted it, but across the board, all 3 of my main income producing companies improved with, very, very good improvement across all 3. I'm very happy about that. And I've probably since I've owned 3 entities like that since 2010, the first year I can reflect on and say all 3 improved good in the right direction. And we're going into next year with the flywheel spinning and picking up more momentum going into next year in a very good place.
Awesome. Do you mentioned staffing changes a couple times?
Yeah.
And I do know in like my bookkeeping capacity and watching hundreds of other companies, it's always apparent to me, like when people get stuck, it's a people thing.
Yes.
For you, was it like pretty much always a people thing and just wrong person, wrong seat type of thing? Or was there other like mathematical financial components where it was like, oh, we're not measuring this right, or we got to change our KPIs here? Like, what did it boil down? Like, what, give me a top 2 or 3 things that kind of boiled
top 2 things. Usually, I think it was always, especially on the service side, for me, on the service and contract side is probably the easiest. And I don't mean this disrespectful in any way. Like the easiest businesses to run, a contract cleaning business or being a contractor. Mm-hmm. There's just a few basic KPIs. I mean, you keep your labor in check, make sure your dollar per man hour is a good number. So you do things to get that up, scheduling, routes, being efficient on the job site. Those, at least to me, come naturally. Those are easy to figure out. The challenge becomes, like you said, the people side. And I have a tendency to get attached to people. And, it's my thing in the past was always, I have to do what's best for the team, but it was still hard for me not to try to coach somebody up or but now since I'm responsible, if I keep somebody in there and I know they're not performing and I don't have those hard conversations, and in the past, I would have a hard conversation, but then I would just let it kind of ride. And I was like, I don't want to do this again. Now I don't do that at all. Like I have the hard conversation, and within 2 or 3 weeks, if I don't see improvement, we're having another hard conversation. And I'm letting you know, like, we're getting close. You either step it up.
Yeah, this is going to be it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I don't do that anymore. And this past year is a reflection of what happens when you do that and you stay committed to that. And I had to really learn to pull a lot of that emotion out. And when I did, I didn't do it like when I did it, I would get myself in a pissed off mood so I could do it, and then that came through. Now I don't do it. I just do it from a position of being a committed leader and doing what's best for the team and knowing that I'm doing what's right. And I think once you get to that place in your mind where you're doing the right thing and what's best for everybody, that helps you communicate from a different, I want to say, heartfelt position.
Yeah.
And people different, and you don't talk with like, I'm really pissed off at you, which I may have been, but I still don't. I come at it with an understanding, and the people on the other side, a lot of times, if they're a good person too, they recognize they're not performing, and they recognize that maybe this isn't the right place for them.
Yep.
And I really haven't had to like push to a point where I have had to fire, but I would say 80 to 85% of the time, they realize they're not the right fit, and we need to make a change. They either make a change within the company or they go somewhere else. So that's what happens. So people are so important, and because you have to. I want to be able to step back and know that I can trust them, and I know they're going to do what I want with them. You still have to coach.
Yep.
And so, and sometimes I mentor people, and my HR staff sells the fact that, oh, you get to work with Michael and get mentored. Well, I've recently come to I haven't done this yet, but that's not going to be open like as a part of a position. You're going to have to prove to me that you earned the right to be mentored, meaning that over 30 days or 60 days, you have some tasks, and you show to me that you can meet those tasks, and you're diligent, and you're asking the right questions to get there. And when I see that you perform, then you've met the price of admission for me to start mentoring you and to work with you more instead of just being a boss.
Yep.
So it's the boss first and then move into mentoring. And I think that gatekeeper mentality has to be there. Otherwise, people, those that come into it don't respect it, and they haven't proven that they deserve to be mentored. And I can't spend my time with people that don't deserve.
Yeah. That haven't done their part of it. Let me get we got our honorary co-host jumping in here. Occasional honorary Rob is light season over yet. Anderson in the house. What's up, Rob?
What's up? How you doing?
What's going on, Hinderliter? Doing all right.
Michael, I have had that same struggle because I'm just the eternal optimist with people, and I think everybody's going to be so awesome, and it's bit me over and over again. I think it's easy for me to like isolate those instances and point to those. It's also proved valuable in certain cases, so I can't like just look at the bad of it. But to exactly what you said, I've had to be really intentional about like what's best for them doesn't mean them working here. My responsibility is to like do what's best for them and best for all of their coworkers. And that might be helping them go find a different job. And I need to find that out as soon as possible. I'm not going to bat 1,000 when we hire people. I'm going to get some people where like our core values aren't actually the right fit. When you came to work here, we thought this was the right place for you. And if it's not, that's okay. I've had to like be really intentional about not feeling bad about saying, hey, you or I have to decide if this isn't the right place for you. And at some point, after a couple hard conversations, one of us is going to make this decision. And it's more about what's fair to everybody else. Like we can't have all of the rest of the team picking up the slack for somebody where they're just the square peg in the round hole and they don't fit with where we're going and what we're up to and what is needed to support the clients and the team. And I've had to like really change my mindset on that to get faster at making the necessary changes. I had a old business partner at one point drop this one on me, which I have still yet to disprove. It's like a hypothesis. You're always trying to disprove it, and it becomes the reality. He had said, I've never run into a situation where anybody, and he coaches and owns businesses, where anybody has thought about firing somebody and not eventually fired them. The difference is how long does it take before you do it, and what's all the stuff that goes wrong between then and now. And you want to give people the benefit of the doubt and work with them and like give them a shot and coach and teach, and hopefully they turn it around. What's up, Danny girl?
Up.
Hey.
Yay.
I don't care.
You should go to bed, girl.
No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, it's 8:30.
No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, you should.
No, I shouldn't.
But so it's like, what's that runway that you give, and how do you give the grace that you need to give to like give somebody the benefit of the doubt, but cut it, like set the standard fast enough to make the change fast enough. And I have found that the better I get at that, and back to the expectation setting, like you said, of here's what we do, here's how we do it, here's how it needs to be done, here's how fast it needs to be done. And we set that expectation for our clients to build trust. We set that expectation for our employees to build trust. And if it isn't happening, we have to make a change. Like either that employee has to change or the business has to make a change about that employee. And for all of our sakes, like to the employee that we need to let go, it doesn't do them any good if we hold them hostage here and keep trying to make it work, and don't let them go pursue what they're the best in the world at, which might not be here. And that's okay. That doesn't make us a bad company. That doesn't make them a bad person, but we need to relieve ourselves of the burden of feeling guilty about staying in the same spot and being loyal to a fault. And that's a fault that I've had in the past, and I still have it, but the first step is admitting you have a problem. So I have a problem.
There's and I think this is me speaking, and I relate to what you're saying, because I generally project my drive and core values onto other people, and they don't always have my drive or my core values. And it's hard. And it took me a long time to realize that not everybody works in that capacity or is going to think in that capacity. And then the second thing that I have done, and we do at times, and I'm real quick to like recognize it and say, no, that's not how it's going to work. And that is, we find somebody we like, we see they have some talents or some capabilities that work good. So then we try to morph our organization to work better for that person. And all you do is you keep doing this and you keep morphing. And then before you know it, your organization isn't structured like it should have been to begin with. You have to bring the right people into the position, and they have to work that position correctly instead of keep changing the positions so that work for the people that you found.
Yeah. It's so tempting to like create a position out of thin air because it's a good fit for that person. And eventually your business turns into a Frankenstein.
And it's hard to find people. And so it's easy to lean into that mindset that, okay, let's use this person because it's going to be so challenging to find somebody else. But I've learned that it's best to just, take some temporary pain. It's going to be hard for a short period of time until you find the person that works. But that's in the long run, the efficiency that's achieved from that is so much better.
Go to bed.
Okay, bye.
Danny, many, many years from now, this will be a valuable lesson for you. You only know.
Boring to a 9-year-old. There's no games or lights or,
So a couple things I've always said. You'll never regret firing somebody, but you will regret how you fired them.
Oh yeah.
If they need to go, they need to go. And I would say we're dealing with a couple that are underperforming or not meeting that expectation, not necessarily doing a bad job, but not doing as great of a job as they need to do.
Yeah.
And like Michael, I know you went through a couple of, I guess, GMs or presidents, a high level role, a high level of, I don't know if you used a recruiter or any of that. And obviously you had a couple guys or gals that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of those things where, man, we take a while to pull that trigger to hire them. And then I think we all know we keep them on way past when we figured out like it's not working.
It's especially tough in holiday light season because you have this definitive end. And you're like, man, you just get stuck in this weird, like rock and hard place situation where it's like, I need X amount of bodies to complete all these jobs. And the clock is ticking. There's like not enough time to find a replacement in such a short seasonal business. It's the ultimate like wedge of that situation of like, man, like how long do I put up with certain behaviors to try to get this stuff done?
And we had exactly that issue today. I was up at 5:30 out fixing jobs, and I was out, and our service manager was out, and I failed to tell everybody that what I was doing, and he failed to tell anybody that he wasn't coming in. So then we have our office manager with 10 technicians, and then 2 guys decided to start peacocking and being, well, I'm in charge, and neither one of them liked it. And next thing we know, 2 guys are about to like have a fight at the shop. And then it's like, guys, what are we like? And just thinking about how simple it would have been for me or the service manager had just, even if it wasn't necessarily the right leader for that morning, just saying, hey guys, I'm not going to be in. Dan's in charge. Listen to Dan. Hey, Dan, I need you to take care of not screwing up this morning just for 1 hour. Like that would have changed and been able to establish like an actual who was leading. And instead we had a vacuum in it, of leadership or vacancy, whatever it is. And it blew up way worse than I could have thought it could have possibly happened this morning.
I mean, those guys almost got into a fist fight. This guy called it. Michael got into a fist fight, but as the saying goes, you should see the other guy.
That's right.
Michael's just got a little band-aid on nothing. Michael, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that if to kind of segue off of what Rob said about letting people go, that is if you ever, and this did happen to me several times when I first started my company, and that is until I was in a peer group and a guy said this. So these aren't my words, but I've heard them said by other people several times since. And that is, if you ever let somebody go and they don't know it's coming, you didn't do your job. Yeah. So it's like I was saying earlier, like we start having those tougher conversation and coaching moments with people, and eventually they know that they're not the right fit. And you don't necessarily have to go sit down and fire them, but if someone gets fired and it's a shock to them, like the communication and the performance reviews weren't there, or PIPs, performance improvement plans, you didn't have in place, and you weren't doing the key components. And I will say this too: there have been several times, to my surprise, when I first started doing this, people came around and really started to perform because the communication was better, the expectations were better, and it ended up working out. So I became a big believer in it.
Yeah, we've started using that process better. I don't know that we've kept anybody that we've put on a PIP, but I'm not like ruling it out. But it does, it just puts the standard there of like really specifically, here's what's not being accomplished, here's what needs to be accomplished, here's how long we're going to give it till we start seeing the accomplishment. We have had people like pick it back up and then kind of resort back to their natural tendency, and that's where I'm like, hey, it's just not the right fit. Like, this isn't you. I'm asking you to be not you. That's pretty unfair.
From a cultural perspective, even if that happens, I think it sets a tone where everybody else knows this is the process, this is what's going to happen, and a fairness is seen from that. So you build trust with your staff, and morale stays better, because if you've let somebody go for the right reasons, but your staff and that person doesn't understand that, you've created another issue that's hard to fix now. So and obviously PIPs and disciplinary actions are behind closed doors. We all know the employees go out and they say things and they talk stuff, and other employees recognize when someone's not performing correctly. They all know it's there, and they know when the boss is having private conversations. So that stuff gets out. They see the actions. They know what's happening, and they see through it all. So they know what's going on, and they're smart enough to perceive it and pick up on it.
Yeah.
The other big benefit of it too is it puts a deadline for yourself too. Yeah. You know, my mom for many years was the dean of women at the school where she teaches, and it basically would say, you're in trouble for this. And I understand that I'm in trouble for this, and I understand that, hey, if this happens again, then this is the next punishment, instead of we'll let that slide again. We'll let that slide again. And same thing with Pip. Like, we had a guy that, 50 to 75 lateness, call outs, stuff, good hard worker, great attitude, all that stuff, but just
six
like,
dead grandmas. Like, man, how do you get
it was always baby mama drama most times. But it was like, dude, I employ you, not that person. You know, like, and when it finally got to a point where it was like, I have given you so many chances and I shouldn't. Like, yeah.
I had kind of I'll say observation or realization too, that especially your really high performers, they're really watching everything that you do and like what you let other people get away with. And so to your point, Michael, like, everybody kind of knows when those conversations aren't happening. And I think when you set the expectation and then you execute on it, whether that's people stay or people go or new people come in, they observe it happening and they see a level of consistency, and then everybody knows where the bar is, right? Everybody knows, hey, if you don't produce to this level and don't abide by these core values and like don't live and act this way within our business, like, it's not going to go, you're just not going to be here. And I think they appreciate that. Like, that's good for them as coworkers of the people that you have on the team, is they want to see that you're holding that standard and not bringing in C players for them to work with and have to pick up the slack for. And every time we've let somebody go, I've seen the team respond positively as a result of that, because they're like, hey, here we go. Like, now we're pedaling full speed again. We lost some weight and we're moving faster. And it kind of gives everybody a pep in their step in a funny way.
isn't it amazing sometimes when you're having your team meetings or your group meetings, and it just feels like there's a cloud in the room,
Mhm.
and it's and this one person or and they're gone, and the next meeting you have, it's just like everybody's so light, everybody's in such a good mood because that
Mhm.
one individual that carries this emotional energy that just brings everybody down is gone now. It's amazing
Mhm.
how the energy in a room can shift sometimes when those
Well,
changes happen.
I'll say even not necessarily just the room, but just mentally. When you finally do pull that trigger, good grief. Like I've had those times where it's been like, man, this is it's like good grief. I feel like so much lighter that I'm no longer trying to document all the stuff this person's screwing up, and you're just like, why didn't I do this months ago? Like, why did I wait? Like, what? And
Yeah.
my office manager had a phrase. She's like, pickle, and like that's Rob. Just deal with the shit that you got to deal with right now. Like, okay, fine, I'll get it done. And,
Pickle. It's like a safe word.
yeah,
Pickle.
yeah, pickle. Because there's no real reference to pickle in power washing or Christmas lights that I know.
Oh, I was going to say a while ago. That's the thing that I don't do Christmas lights, but I'm attracted to the market, and I'll tell you why. Because I used to sell fireworks years ago, and I loved selling fireworks.
It's a blast.
I tested all the
Dan.
fireworks before the season started. I told everybody how everything did, and I sold like I wasn't trying to make a killing, so I sold at reasonable prices, and I did it for like 5 or 6 years, and people would just come back to me consistently, like, "You got the best prices, you know what everything does, and you sell me like which firework has the best display, and it's the cheapest one, and these others look like they're going to do all this fancy stuff, and they cost so much, but then you're saying no, buy this one because it'll do all that one does plus, and it's cheaper." And so
Mhm.
I loved it, but what I loved about it, it was a push. It was a push for 11 days around 4th of July. And depending on when the 4th of July fell, the last 2 days were going to be super big sales, or it'd be the last 3 days and sometimes 4 days. If the 4th of July was like on a Monday, you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is big sales.
Oh yeah.
And that happened one year. Man, I made a ton of money. But I love the fact that I could just drive and push for that time period, and I knew there was an end, and I would get the rest. I love that, and I would just drive as hard as I could.
That's like the 40-yard dash compared to holiday lights ends up being a 400-meter dash.
Yeah,
where
that's
it's like,
true.
it's a sprint, but you can't quite sprint 400 meters. Like you can maybe make it 200, but as Rob's tagline says,
The 800 meter dash, like you're just done for. Like
That's
it's
not a
awful.
dash. For my short legs, 800 meters is no longer a dash. That's a jog. That's a fast jog.
When you're in a relay, yeah.
I had Paul Gardner chimed in here on my personal feed. Let me relevant comment. He said, "I had that individual and fired them yesterday. I hate to fire anyone, but it comes with running a business. As an employer, the most important thing is to make sure you protect the company by covering your bases, documenting everything properly, ensuring the termination does not turn into an unjustified unemployment claim. Unemployment has its purpose, but it should not be used by individuals when the termination is fully justified." And I think it is, like you mentioned, covering bases in there and just documenting everything. And I think that there's the legal side of that, but there's also, like you hinted at earlier, Michael, or talking about, is there's the internal piece of it where it just sets really clear expectations. And it goes back to what you talked about at the beginning of the show, which is trust. Like people need to trust that there's processes in place for this sort of thing, and trust that they will be followed. Because if they're not followed, it creates too much ambiguity and nobody quite knows where the boundaries are and what happens when this happens. And it creates, like, it starts to create its own chaos. And so when you can like document it, set clear expectations, and deliver on those expectations, good or bad, it still is better than the ambiguity and uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen and not knowing when it's going to happen.
Completely agree with that. there's, and most business owners in this industry are, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the male perspective, and obviously the female perspective comes in too. But most of us that are running companies in the power washing industry are male, and so I'm speaking from a male perspective and a family perspective at the same time. And even if you add a little bit of the religious perspective, you got to create where your priorities are. And I, knowing a little bit about you, Rob, I know that you would probably say, your faith comes first, then your wife, then your kids, then yourself, then your company. And your company is there to serve those other things and to provide for that lifestyle you want to live. And so you have to have that priority in place. And at the same time, what you're doing there serves them, but also serves your employees. And so when you start thinking in those terms, your decisions become simple, but not always easy to follow through on. And I heard it said in church once that all decisions are simple. It's just the act of carrying them out. That's the challenge, because we get caught up in the emotional side of it. We get the personal, and we don't want to. We avoid confrontation, and when you just lean into it and push, which is what I focused on that so hard this year, and I've seen so many good results. And like, I am committed to live that the rest of my life.
I want to flip the coin over, because we've talked about the side of letting people go, but there's a thing that happens when you let somebody go, which is you need to find new people that can execute.
Yeah.
And so talk about that side of it for you, Michael. Obviously, you said you made staffing changes. What did you do about the recruiting side of that to make sure that you got a different result than what you had in the first place?
Yeah. So in one position, a CEO left. I have not filled that position yet. I don't know that I'll fill it at the top in that big of a role. We'll probably eventually promote from within instead of bringing from the outside. There was another role that we weren't doing a good job at finding a person for that role. And so I decided to hire a recruiting company, and it was costly. It was in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $35,000, but they found me a very good person, and it has been very successful. Has made a ton of changes, made a bunch of improvements, has caught a lot of bad costs, so to speak, or made a bunch of cost improvements. And so even though one of the companies did not perform sales wise, we still hit our bottom line projections, and even better than that, because we cut so many costs and found so much bad
inefficiencies,
processes and inefficiencies and wasted money. So that was one. So we did that, and then we improved our hiring funnel and came up with ways. We use HireBus, and we've used that for several years, and we've improved upon that. We use the personality, the HireBus personality test, which has gotten better, and we're building some of our own systems that complement that, and so that's gotten better. Our hiring process is just finding, because what's happening is it becomes so challenging to find good people. So the simplest way I can say it is to cast such a big net and then find ways to funnel people down with the funnel, instead of being so involved with staffing and trying to talk to everybody and everything else. Ask the right questions, have them watch videos and things like that, till it gets to the point to where it's fairly decent. And then you can start having, and I think a lot of people in the industry do this now. It wasn't my idea. I actually took it from other people, and that is have group interviews. and then
Mhm.
ask these fun questions and things like that, and then grab, if you have 10 people, hopefully you get 2 or 3.
Mhm.
I think I had one. She told me the other day she had 5 people come in, and they were all good. I was like, that never happens. What's
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
So
Rank them right now.
Yeah. So that happens. And then obviously we have meetings and nobody was good, but generally about 20% look good. And on average, 50% that say they're going to show up actually show up. That's what we've seen.
Yeah.
And that's where, the biggest challenge is technicians. So, and my projection going forward is, as 2026, we're probably going to see more of what happens with AI, and we're going to see all service industries become more competitive. So I think leaning into your company's uniques, especially being in business for a long time, any kind of certifications you have, things that you can do to stand out against the guys that are trying to start up and compete with you. It's going to be real important going forward, because
the
I
playing
think
field
also,
levels really fast with that level of technology.
Mhm.
yeah, I think we're going to see over the next 3 to 5 years a huge influx into the service markets, and the competition is going to get aggressive.
Yeah, especially just my neighbor works at U.S. Bank, and they just got rid of positions because like they've got technology that can do a lot of the stuff in the banking world that makes sure the things are happening right.
We're writing our first agent, so that's fun. I've been leaning into AI since the beginning of the year, and haven't had the confidence to write and start creating an agent, but we're doing it now, and we're fixing to launch our first one. So I'm pretty internally.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Back on the recruiting thing, and I've been in the and I still own half of Higher Lead Chill with Michael Gregory. So like I'm constantly thinking about recruiting stuff. And to what you said, Michael, like there's a funnel, and you have to make it as efficient as possible. And you have to get a lot of people. I still talk to a lot of people that are like, I got 50 applicants, and I'm like, you got to like get 500. And if that costs you a few grand, it costs you a few grand. But if you hire the wrong person, it costs you way more than a few grand. So like get hundreds of people, not dozens of people. Let the filter do the thing and get you down to maybe 100, and then 50 of them show up. And then I do reverse group interviews. I do like a sales presentation. I present my business model to them, and I just watch them. And I know Jim Dubois and a couple other people kind of take a similar approach, and you get so much from their nonverbals. And mine are digital for a bookkeeping business, but I can see who thinks my core values are like, oh, those are neat. And people who are like, when can I come? When can I start? I had one guy literally email me back, and he's like, I will follow you anywhere. I will follow you into whatever bookkeeping war we get into. Like, I'm coming. I'm going to be a part of this team. I will be your janitor. Like, how do I get to be a part of this thing, right? And
I like that. I've never done that. I like that a lot, though.
And it, like,
Ken was offering Bush Light free for a year if you signed up right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got to have like a little set package. But I found like it turns it around, and it, in a funny way, like it lowers their guard, because of my internal optimism of like everybody's going to be awesome. I give them all the benefit of the doubt, and I have a hard time really judging who's going to be the best. And what I find is when they get to interview me, really, like that's the whole point of that, is you guys interview me and see if you want to pick me. Like, do you want this to be the last job you're ever going to have? You got to decide if I'm the right leader for you, because I'm the one person that ain't going to get fired. Like, I'm going to be here forever, whether you like it or not. So you got to be really comfortable with working for me, and trust it. Like, back to what you said, you got to trust that what I say we're going to do is exactly what we do. And it's on me to deliver it. And that's why I think it's important that you're really here to interview me. And when I flip it around like that, what's interesting is all of their guards go down. They stop being prepared for an interview, and they start just being themselves. And you can like watch them either be kind of ho-hum or super engaged and super interested. And like that, I have found is the best filter for who has been my best employees. is who can't wait to get started. And generally I don't hire people for a year after I interview them, because I just build a pipeline. I have a list. I know who my next 3 people are going to be. It might not all work out, right? But I've got a dozen people lined up behind them. And so I'm constantly kind of like reassessing my list. The dude that said he's going to be my janitor is probably starting in the next month as an account manager, but he's actually like studying some accounting stuff before he comes to like brush up on it. Like, he's like, what do I need to do? What, like, give me the things to study that are like core, so I can come in, like, hit the ground running. Like, he's just obsessed with being a part of the team. And I've found, like, that, to what you said about getting a big enough funnel, if you can fill that baby up, there's like, there's enough in there that somebody's going to trickle out the bottom that's going to be the right fit. And if you don't put enough in the top of the funnel, you end up settling, because there's always somebody that's good enough. You're always going to find somebody that's good enough. And we've all hired that person that's good enough, and then we all keep them way too long to everything we just talked about firing people. But if you can keep that funnel full, you already, like, you have the confidence to let somebody go if they need to go, because you already know who's sitting on the bench ready to take their starting spot. And one of the things that I've done very intentionally is talk about those next 3 people with our team. They know the names of the next 3 people. Like Sean Day at Harley Chill always talks about, like, you've got a bench, you've got your starters on the court. And if they don't see anybody on that bench, like, how hard are they going to practice? How hard are they going to play? How much are they going to listen to your coaching? But if they see that there's 5 people sitting over there and they know their names and they know they can't wait to be on the court, like, the behaviors of the people on the team are better, and your A players are really excited about the people on the bench, and they can't wait to get them on the court with them. Like, we got to grow this business because we know Dan's got some awesome people that we get to work with. And so, like, they get excited about the people that are waiting to come work here. And they see it play out. And after enough of them have gone through that process, like, now there's ones on our team that sat on the bench for a year and then got the starting spot. And so when we talk about them, they're like, when's Emil starting? Right? When's Amanda starting? What, like, who do you got? Like, it becomes the thing we're all excited about, is who do we have in the pipeline? We got to grow this business because we need to, like, get more people in here. And so you kind of, it works in both functions, that people get really excited about it, but also they keep executing, because they know if they stop performing, there's somebody really hungry for their job that's already ready to go. And I found that works. I mean, very easy to say, harder to do. You got to be super, super proactive, and you got to be willing to spend money on it. But, like, the more I do that, the more, like, man, if you just get that employee side of it right, the business, like, with the right people, it can really go and be a hell of a lot more fun than chasing people around and trying to figure out what they did wrong and getting up at 5:30 to go fix Christmas light things. Because, I mean, we've all been there, we've all done that, and you're still going to have those days. I just had that the other night. Was the last night or 2 nights ago? I was up for like 2 hours at night just fixing things from a person that it took us a little too long to fire, and found some things that needed to be fixed. So you're never out of the woods totally, but, man, it feels better when you get 90% of the way there and have excitement around who's waiting to come be a part of it.
Yeah, that you talked about taking too long to get rid of somebody. I had an accounting person that I shouldn't have had for 2 years. It took us 2 years to clean that mess up.
1 day per day too long that they stayed.
Yeah, that's what it took. Because the person I brought in behind her, I was convinced was fixing things. And then I finally realized she wasn't really quite doing it right. Well, then I got the higher level guy that I actually paid for to come in. And he's been phenomenal. Like, this is the type of accounting I needed a long time ago. I mean, you even talked back when I was first trying to figure out what I was going to do with my accounting side of things. Yeah. Give me some good advice.
You got her cleaned up now, though. She's rolling.
Yes, it's looking amazingly good. Like, I feel very good about looking at numbers now.
I feel like there's 2 components to that, and I'm probably biased because I'm so obsessed with them. But there's the component of, like, the trust in that data that you
Mhm.
have to just not look at it and say, well, but, and okay, well, yeah, this number says this, but we all kind of also know this, right? When it's foggy and you feel like you have to justify things, that sucks. When it's concrete and it's just like, here's the scoreboard, here's the dashboard, here's what the data is telling us. Not only does it just like take the uncertainty out, right? You build the trust back in your own data, but it gives you the confidence to do the things you need to do, which sometimes is letting people go, sometimes is hiring the next person, sometimes is making a big marketing decision, sometimes is renting the next shop. Or Rob went through that, like was renting a shop and then said, oh, like my data says I got to get rid of that and I'm gonna go buy a building. But like those decisions are, I had that discussion with a mutual friend of some of ours Monday about like, man, I know I got to solve this rent thing. What do I do? But at least we can look at some data and say we know exactly. The data tells us what it is. We
Let me tell you about a guy named Rob.
Yeah, we talked about you. We talked about you. Yeah, we talked about you. But I think that's like, it doesn't mean that it's a bad decision, right? If you had rented that place, Rob, and the business doubled and paid for it, and like, and the location, if it worked from a marketing perspective the way I'd hoped, like maybe you'd still be there.
Yeah.
But the data at least kind of tells you how long do you hang on to this thing. Again, I'm biased, but the clarity in numbers just gives you that confidence to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I did so many years making decisions based off the numbers. And then when they started going south, it became, I equate it to driving at night with no headlights.
That's powerful. Scary.
Yeah. It is scary. Like you're just trying to go by your gut and try to figure things out. And have some kind of, you're looking up at the sky and hopefully there's trees on the side of the road that you can stay between. But
did you got to reach down here and get another NA beer out of my little mini fridge?
There you go.
Did you, when you were kind of going through your reckoning of, oh man, we're losing money and we got to make some changes, was part of that because you didn't have the data for long enough that you maybe like let it slide longer than you otherwise would have because you didn't have the clarity that you needed?
That was part of it too. I probably, and I have the capability of looking at and understanding the numbers, but I trusted that they were correct when I should have been questioning. And by the time I started questioning and realizing, like asking questions and getting responses that did not, if you knew anything about accounting or had any kind of training, and the comments that were coming back were like, that's not how accounting works. Like, wait a minute. That is
here,
not, wait a second. Like, this isn't right.
Like the person that we had before we went back to Dan, literally was taking our bank statement and basically, I guess, all credits was tracking that as sales. So every transfer that went from bank account to bank account, well, that was sales. And this and that, and I'm looking at it, and it was like, I was like,
Rob, you did
these
$2
numbers
million
look
this year.
They look so amazing. And I know that they're really, really, really far off. And then I was like, so wait a second, you're literally going by the total credits or that whatever on our bank statement as sales. So now we had, off season, it's like, well, we need to move $30,000 from things to cover payroll for the next 3 weeks. That's $30,000 in sales in a month. Or we did like $8,000 in gross revenue because there's just nothing coming in there. And it was like, yeah, this says I should have $200,000 in the bank, but we've got like $5.
I feel like I would know if I had 200,000. I feel like I would do that.
And I'm like trying to explain this to her, like, this doesn't make sense, and I'm paying to do our books to help them make sense for me and not my gut, which my gut is telling me that this is FUBAR.
It's interesting you say that, because that's when the red flags started going up for me, is when you have enough P&L statements that say you're profitable, but the bank statement keeps going down, and I keep pulling from other accounts to keep that account on. I'm like, like this isn't adding up. There's something is definitely way off. Yeah. That's where it started for me too. So yeah.
It is I'm on the other end of it. And when we get a cleanup like that, you know, our nerd muscles like, yeah, like, oh, here we go. We get to dig in and clean some stuff up. But on the flip side of that, like, I know whoever we're doing the cleanup for is just like, please make it be over. Please make it be over. Like, how long is this going to take? It's like, man, I don't know.
How bad is it?
We're still looking for needles. You got any other haystacks we need to look in?
The cut keeps getting deeper.
Yeah, it's like we're still digging, but we keep finding more stuff. And once we find it, we got to clean it up. But I mean, in a funny way, it's digital cleanup, but we all know, because we all have professionally cleaned stuff. When you take something from filthy to sparkling, oh, damn, it feels good. You know?
Yeah.
It's just a good feeling, whether it's physical cleaning or digital cleaning.
Yeah. So we were talking about employees before and hiring employees. The other thing I would say is once you make a decision to hire, make sure you have them in the right environment and with the right people to mentor them into the group, because those first few days or weeks make a big difference. I mean, we've thrown guys out on trucks, and for whatever reason, they put them with somebody who had just been written up. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You put them with your top guys who are the most motivated and most gung-ho about the job and have the right attitude and you know, are level-headed. Like, that's where you sit them at. You want to set them there so that people come into a space where that they want to be in, and having the SOPs in place and setting the expectations, that you want to set them up for success. And Rob, you may have this, because I think you do some of this, and I haven't quite gotten there yet. But, you know, have a plan in place that shows them how they can promote and grow in the company and what it takes to move up. And we're getting better at that. We're doing some more stuff, but those things bring it. Is that on your end? Come in the building by
No,
myself.
it's my wife talking in the other room.
Okay. Like, is there a ghost?
There's a lady.
Could have been anywhere. My kids were over screaming earlier. I was like, I wonder if they can hear that over there. Yeah. Kids doing kid stuff. I'm wearing my dad vice. I'm wearing my dad vice shirt.
Oh, there you go.
Example, ask your
Give
mother.
me some of your food.
In default, go ask your mother. So when in doubt, dad vice.
No, I'll say that welcome part, it's when you have that's your personality person. Like, let's go ahead and just, hey, you're the friendliest person we have. I just need you to make this person feel welcome. And then the other thing, and I don't know what book I was listening to in the last couple of months, but it was basically saying, like, you know, we're also worried about, I don't know how much y'all get to hear that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And now you're in the public space. Now the fam's on.
Yep. Their Netflix show's over. But that, you know, like, if you brought in 3 awesome hires, would they be successful and know they were being successful right away? And I was like, honestly, no, because, like, I could have super skilled technicians, but the stuff, again, it comes down to, like, how much are they going to pay attention? How much can I, like, actually spend time investing in them, getting that one-on-one, and then them listening? Like, we got a guy right now, he's awesome, but he's trying to get into the Army. So it's like, all right, well, how long will we have you for? But, like, it's somebody who wants to learn. I'm enjoying working with. And there's other guys that it's like, dude, I think you've got the skills and abilities, but I don't know what the hang up is, you know? I don't know.
The mojo.
I've got my non-NA crown.
That's the A. You got the A.
The A crown royal.
Michael, do you have what do you got in store for 2026? Like, what's your outlook? Like I said, 2025 seemed like a weird year. Similar, like, we did pretty well, but I got watching a lot of our clients kind of go through some weird, like, the seasonality swings were a little bit more drastic. The things they were dealing with, some of the marketing wasn't working the same. There's just other forces coming in and at work. Curious, like how you observe that and what you see going on for 2026, and then like personally for you and your businesses, things that you're working on for 2026, or projects you got in the works.
I think we do on the leadership team. We do SWAT. We do these SWATs, and a SWAT is on each other.
Ooh,
so, yeah, it's on each other. So I got called out for deep diving too much into AI, and so anyway, I do see AI. I mean, it's definitely what's going to. I think AI has had some impact on 2025, but we're going to see probably 2026 is a year where we see a big shift.
It's going up the hockey stick.
Yeah. And when I was at an event not too long ago out in San Francisco, and they were talking. They showed a curve about on a monthly curve. In 2025, there were 5,000, maybe 10,000 agents deployed a month, and eventually, and then in the month of, I think I was there in October, so in the month of September, there were 25,000 agents a month being launched. And that's only going to go up more. And that means when I look at that, it was 45,000 agents. That's what it was. 45,000 agents a month being launched. And when I looked at that, I was like, how's that possible? Like, that doesn't seem right. And I got to thinking about it, like, okay, these are Fortune 500 companies that are launching a bunch of internal agents, and they're really into it. And companies that started with chat years ago, when chat first started, and didn't give up on it, because I kind of like went away from it and then came back to it. They're doing this stuff now too. They're doing internal agents, and they're doing this stuff internal. So we're going to see this happening going into 2026, and we're going to see a shift in the job market. We're going to see a shift in the what I was saying earlier, the attention focused on the service industry. So what my advice is, prepare for that. Know it's coming. It's kind of like the earthquake happened out in the ocean, and there's a tsunami coming. Mm-hmm. So how do you prepare for that? Because you know it's coming. We don't know how big it is, but plan for it and plan accordingly. So, position yourself in a position so that you can compete good. That's going to happen. There's going to influx. There's going to customers that are going to go for the cheapest price. Don't be the cheapest price. Separate yourself out with your experience, your knowledge base, and customer service, things like that. So that's what we're doing. And then on the other side, I've been preparing my staff for this, and my intention is to grow through this period and not let anybody go. We're going to get more efficient. We're going to cut costs. We're going to become better at it, and we're going to be able to compete price wise too. But it's because of the efficiencies we're going to create along the way, and it's going to be actually, even though the newer guys are coming in, I think it's going to be tougher for them, because it's going to be challenging for them to scale, because they don't have the infrastructure for scale. Now they can buy products, they can get things that can help them scale. But if you don't have the knowledge base, this was the other thing that I heard too. And this was put out by Stanford. So I'm a Generation X. Generation X is in higher demand now because we have a knowledge base of experience, and we're being sought after. So we're being paid more than what we would have been paid 20 years ago. Let me say, like the baby boomers. Mm-hmm. Because there's not this need. There's a need to help train models and help to understand how that works. With what this also creates another problem going past 2026 is that as we're hiring new people to come into the workforce, they don't have this opportunity to build this knowledge base. So now the knowledge base is going to live within these AI models. That's a scary thing. Yeah. I can go down so many rabbit holes. So anyway, that's what I see happening in 2026, and I see the opportunity there. I'm kind of staging our stuff. I've been planning this all year, getting into that position. So that's where I see things going. And I really see a lot of positivity for all my organizations going into 2026.
Mike, I think that's the scary part for me is it's that dichotomy of how much can I provide resources for you to learn how to do all these things, what to do for this situation and that situation, and then to realize, and Kirk Kempton said it many years ago, it was like the unconscious excellence or whatever. Like he's like, it's the stuff that we just naturally just look at and do and figure out, and then we try to explain that to somebody, and we're like, wait, so why can't you get that? Why can't you like see this? Like, I had to go fix some pillars today at a house, and the pillars went like this. And he's like, yeah, I knew the wires were gonna fall down. I'm like, that's like saying I knew the lights were gonna fall off of a freaking Christmas tree. No, if you wrap them decently, they should stay there forever. But it's like just looking at it differently, and that's where like we want to build that system and that AI so that they don't have to think, and it's just do. But then they do still need to think, no matter what. There's still an aspect of like, does that make sense? Like, I don't know.
Right. So I think that's part of where it comes in too, is where it's going to become extremely challenging, and it's already challenging to a degree when we hire some of the younger people. And I know anyone listening to this, and you guys know this too, that I run into this regularly, where the comment is like, well, no one told me. Well, no one showed me how to do that. And I remember a conversation I had with my stepson years ago when that came up. And I said, listen, you're smart, you're intelligent. If you're ever challenged with a problem and you tell me no one told you how to do that, we have a problem. And that's a conversation I have with my employees too, because you have a brain, you have reasoning skills, but what's happening in our society, I won't get into the things that I believe has caused this, but we have
the internet
epidemic. We have an epidemic of people who don't want to try to solve problems. They want someone to solve them for them, and they want and they don't take ownership of them. So looking for that skill set as we go into this world of AI is understanding those people that have that skill set are going to be in demand, in very high demand. So the better you are at recognizing how to solve a problem and how to use different AIs to work together and to talk together on the back end, that's going to be in high demand too. And how you use these different products and get them to build off each other and make all these different things work. To see that, and I was talking to a younger guy the other day that I work with really closely, and we're doing some of this AI stuff, and we go through, we see it, and I go, oh man, we could do this with it. And he's like, man, how do you, like, I don't understand how you like see how to implement. That doesn't make sense to me. And I said, well, I don't always see all this stuff, and sometimes it kind of throws me off, but I think from my younger years, I was programming for a while. I wrote my first program for Steamaway for the fleet washing, and it created an amazing competitive advantage for us. And I went to a PW&A conference with a friend of mine, Daryl Mirza, and we wrote one for kitchen exhaust, and we presented it to the crowd. First time anything like this had been presented. And I was worried. I was like, we're going to get flooded. Everyone's going to want to buy this. We spent about an hour presenting, and at the end of it, like, it went like this. No one got
Nobody could grasp it.
the competitive advantage we had just created. And I was like, you know what?
It was like, those guys are really excited.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying, like, it was like streamlining the operations and counting the pennies and routing good and following up on schedules, all the stuff that CRMs are doing today.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't for our industry back then. Plus more stuff.
The first go high level.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, that's kind of where we are in AI right now. And so I see it as a huge opportunity. And I constantly just challenge myself to see how to implement these things and put them into the company and make systems and processes faster and more streamlined. So that's that skill set I talk about, where you can see something, and that's just what entrepreneurs do, right? They work with colleges and they develop these, you know, these great inventions, and then they go out and implement it in the real world and make a ton of money with it because they know how to market it, they know how to implement it, and they know how to make it run and attract an audience that wants to use it. So I guess I rambled on, but that's kind of where I see things going and what's going to happen in 2026. And I know it's kind of scary. I sometimes think about the contract cleaner out there that's, you know, he's a 2 or 3 man operation and he's out in the field. Like, he doesn't really have time to figure out how to invest as he thinks. So he really needs to find a service out there that can help him with bringing in AI and finding products that he can implement to do that. Cause he's not going to be able to do what we're doing here.
Yeah. Well, I think too, what you said about like just that problem solving aspect, you still have to know how to find the answer. You have to know how to prompt it to get the right answer. You have to know the right question to ask. And so if you don't have the base knowledge to even know the right question to ask, and you just expect the answer to come, the talk about like people are conditioned to expect somebody else to solve their problems. It always cracks me up when somebody asks you a question, whether it's like a customer or an employee, and like your responses in your mind is like, let me chat that for you, or let me Google that for you, right? Like literally, right. Like the answer is just, you just need to put it into a Google search. Like, you're so lazy that you chose to ask me instead of just ask the obvious question to the resources that we all have access to, but we're just conditioned to be like, somebody else solved this problem for me. And sometimes, and that usually goes along with just like a knowledge gap of don't even know the right question to ask. Like, and it's, and it's like you said, just,
so we talked about,
here's the website here. Let me Google that for you. I always love that.
Yeah.
And I've told Dan this one before, where somebody's like sitting at the computer trying to figure out somebody's bonus for payroll, and they get like 1%. So what's 1% of $6,500? It's like, okay, I don't know what it is. Okay, well, you're on a computer. They're in an Excel sheet. Doesn't know how to write formulas. Okay, well, there's that calculator app on the computer, and there's a calculator sitting next to her on the desk. Okay. And she grabs her phone, and I was like, I don't know, why are you grabbing your phone? He's like, well, I'm going to ask Siri, what's 1% of 6,500? And I'm like, oh my gosh, the amount of computing power you have in front of you. Like that's what scares me. Also, my son wants to show what I had him build for us.
That's pretty
there you go.
Merry Grinchmas. Not bad. It'll get hung up at the office tomorrow.
I like that. That's some good artwork. What you were
Sorry, Mike, what were you going to say?
What were you going to say?
No, it was I was kind of just going to lean into LLMs. If people understand what LLMs are, you know, it's basically, you know, this AI that goes out and pulls information, but it's predictive responses to your prompting. And so it's just predicting how to respond. And it leads us into thinking the AI, I just had this conversation with a lady the other day. I'm single, so I was on a date. And so we were going back and forth. And she goes, well, no, the AI is going to take over. It's going to do wait a second. You have to understand, an LLM does not have the ability to logically reason like a human being does. It doesn't do that. And people are it's easy to think that it does because you can ask it a question and it seems like it's doing
Yeah,
that.
it humanizes its response to you, so it
Yeah.
seems like it comes with the rationale
Right.
of a human.
But it doesn't. And when I was, so basically I was at an AI engineering event, and it was so hard for me to keep up because they were talking like up here and I'm down here. So I could just grasp the concepts, but I couldn't go implement what they were talking about, but it made sense to me. But part of what I walked away with is we are 20 to 30 years away from any AI, and it's still extremely challenging to have an AI that can logic and reason like a human being can. So when you think about that, there is some comfort in it, in knowing that we're a long way from that.
Our world's not going to end yet.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, they're
But
predicting
2027.
20 to 30 years out. Yeah, 20 to 30 years out before it's that those capabilities with, and it's extremely challenging to get there. But at the same time, you can prompt to get certain responses, and you can put prompts in certain orders and put, these things and these agencies that can teach itself and improve. And at some point, if you get a bad actor in there, like it has no ability to run through the logical process like a human can. So it has no emotion or feeling in that. It just goes through this.
It's just part of the set of data.
Yeah. And it'll see things, and if it's teaching itself, then yeah, it could do something nefarious to us.
And
yeah. In our perception, nefarious, but it has no understanding of that. And it's weird to think that way because we're seeing these responses that seem so humanistic.
Well, it's like the restrictions that they put on it now, and I had not heard about the actual situation. My guys were talking about it, that AI was using, or this guy was using AI or ChatGPT as like his therapist, and then basically was like, well, I'm depressed now, I want to kill myself. So how can I kill myself? How do I hang myself? How do I do, like? And it's like it's just providing all the answers for this, and like. And I know that they came out and they were like, okay, so we're no longer going to give you health advice, legal advice, and something. And it was like, when they said health advice, those are those things where like you open up Pandora's box. Is that low calorie is now health advice, or is this like, it's when they talk about like porn, describe it, define it. You're like, well, you know what you see it, you know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah. Wait, is that love or is it porn? I don't know. It's hard to decipher.
There's a huge rabbit hole that we can go down when it comes to AI, but I'll just leave this as a parting thought. I don't really want to get into it, but think about kids raised today that have access to an LLM and the ability to communicate with an LLM, and that LLM becomes their best friend, their therapist, their informational source, and they don't develop the human skills to interact with and socialize with other people. That's a scary thought to me, and it's going to become a big deal with parents on how they raise their kids and limit them to interact with these platforms.
We're dealing with this right now. Danny that came in here is 9. We got Reggie, that's 7. Crosby, that's 3. And just like the device debate, right? Like we know they're going to grow up and they need to be proficient in using devices. I don't know if they actually are ever going to need to type. Like I felt like it was a big deal for me to get really good at typing because
me too.
My life is on a keyboard, right? Like I felt like I gained tons of efficiency when I got really good at typing, no matter what the application was, because it kind of applied to everything. And I'm like, man, I don't know if typing is going to be a thing in their world because they're just going to talk to it, right?
That's
like I don't know. The world's going to change enough, but in all these device things, it's like I want them to know how to use it and be comfortable using it because they're going to be around it all the time. But damn, I want them to go hunting with me. Right. More than anything, I want to know that food comes from the woods and from the garden, not from the grocery store. And it doesn't always just show up at your doorstep. Like the world has a certain way that it works outside of all these devices. And it's really like we don't get joy out of working on devices. This is my belief, we get joy from like being outside, getting experiences.
Yeah.
Devices
Yes.
make that easier. Like I use
Yes.
a device to pick my hunting spots and to pick my fishing spots and to check the weather to hopefully have more success when I do go out there. But I also, some of my favorite memories are when everything went wrong when we're out there. And sometimes even in business, some of your favorite memories that you tell stories about are when things go wrong and you all like come together and like solve problems. And so it's like, yeah, if you make it too easy, then are you really getting that same experience and joy through the pain and suffering and problem solving? And it's like, man, I just don't, that it's a slippery slope of being too dependent on devices that you forget what's really important out here and the human experience, not just I'm going to interact on this thing and and here we are talking to each other on a screen. I'm aware of that on our devices. But it's just a weird gray area for me. I'd rather be like at hunting camp with you guys right now having this discussion. We're just not there. So we're doing the best we can right now. Someday we'll do this at a hunting camp instead.
I was going to say, when you let me know when.
You probably got some hogs down there that need to get.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do.
Right. Probably got to go get some hogs.
Yeah. Let's do it.
There's wild game to be pursued. I do want to. I saw you smack a doe with the bow this year. So before we wrap up, we gotta do a little hunting chat. You guys got any final business thoughts for you guys or for 2026 coming up?
I did, and then it disappeared. It was something about the kids and devices and whatever, and yeah, it'll come back in when we get to the tacos. Enchiladas.
Somebody on my radio show earlier today commented I just get some weird YouTube comments, and they said they were 389 pounds and they just ate 12 tacos. And I was like, I don't know where to go with that. I don't know if you're looking for a hey, way to go. I don't know if you're looking for weight loss advice or hey, this is as good as a 12.
Why didn't you have 14 tacos? Like, come on.
Why stop at 12?
Yeah.
Joey Chestnut.
How many beers did you have with us?
Yeah, right. I didn't even. We addressed it. We addressed the comment. I just didn't know where to go with it. But Michael, I saw your post of cracking the doe with the bow, and it's like. I might be wrong here, but my interpretation was like you hadn't picked up the bow in a while and you were just kind of like getting back into slinging some arrows. I always feel like archery is a lot like running a business. Like there's a lot that has to go right for it to come together, and you keep getting a little better and a little better. Like had you bow hunted in the past and just kind of like set it down, or what like prompted you to dig back into it?
I probably the last time I'd bow hunted was 15 to 20 years ago.
Oh, and there's been a hiatus. Yeah.
And so actually the bow that I had in that picture was probably around 15 years old. At the time, it was probably the top end bow. It's still a really good bow. I just went and got it restrung and had them check it out. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Still shooting.
So I was out the weekend before bow season started, and I was out there just practicing, because I just remember like, there's you need to have. If you just go out and say, oh, I remember all this stuff in the heat of the moment, you forget one or two things.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to miss.
Yeah.
So if you're not practicing with it, then those things, they come back to you in that moment and you're like, okay, I got to check that. Boom. And you go.
It's like speaking a foreign language. If you don't use it,
right.
It's like, I know I used to know this stuff, but not no more.
So I was out opening weekend. No, was it opening weekend or weekend? Regardless, it was bow season. And I set up a bow stand. I was out there, I was sitting here, and it was a beautiful morning. And I'm sitting there. This story, you have to bear with me, because I love this experience. The sun's coming up. I hear the quail doing the Bob White chirp. Oh yeah. And I loved hearing that. And then I start hearing this rustling and this clicking, and I'm like, and I have to wear hearing aids now because my hearing has been damaged around machinery and guns and fireworks and all that, right. which is a good life. I'm glad I do it all the same. I'll be wearing hearing aids all over again. So, So I'm sitting there and I'm hearing this clicking noise. I'm like, what the heck is that? And there was a bull that was in the fenced area where my deer stands are. And I thought it was him. And then eventually I realized it's younger bucks fighting
by you.
And that morning I saw around 12 to 15 bucks come in front of me. And there was one buck I wanted. And then there was another buck that's got this odd rack, but he's a hoss. And I've intentionally been letting him grow up because I want to see what happens for eating protein.
Yeah.
And so the buck I wanted was coming in. I go, that's him. That's him. This big buck. They go over and they fight. Like they go at it. And then he runs off the buck I wanted. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And I talked about being indifferent. Well, that's the way the world goes. You just have to let it go and live with it. I sat there. I enjoyed the moment. I was like, all right, I'm going to get down. I'm going to walk out of here. And I'm walking out and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, fine. And so as I'm going out, I have another feeder. And I'm like, last night I saw a hog there. And I was going to shoot the hog with the bow, but it was so dark, I couldn't see through my peep sight.
Yep.
And I was like, well, now I just got to watch the hog go. Just this blur of blackness because there was no moon out either. So it was dark.
Oh yeah. Just dark on dark.
Yeah. And I think most hunters would say I'm crazy because there's hogs there and I can't see, but I also know that hogs, if they hear something or they smell something, they're gone.
Oh yeah.
And unless you corner them, they're not coming at, they're not going to attack. I mean, so that doesn't scare me because I'm comfortable enough in the woods. I've hunted long enough to realize that. Hog runs off. That was the night before. So that morning as I'm coming out, it's still overcast. As I walk up, I'm looking and I say, oh, it's a doe. All right. So I reach down, knock my bow in, getting ready to pull it back. And I look up and there's a group of 7 does and fawns walking right at me. And they've spotted me. So I was like, oh, crap. Instinctively I freeze and I'm camouflaged. I'm like, they saw me move. So they know I'm here and they snort and they run off. So the doe that I spotted over here, she runs up, but I can't move because now she's staring at me, but I'm camoed. And because I'm camoed and I've done enough hunting, I know that if I don't move, she probably won't realize I'm there.
Yeah.
And she's staring right at me. So
she's doing the trying to get an angle at you.
And sometimes they stomp. So she finally looks ahead and then she does that stomping walk.
Yeah.
Where she's trying to get something.
I'm nervous. Are you going to move or am I going to leave? What's happening here?
She goes behind this group of mesquite trees. I can't see her. And like, oh, she's going to follow those other ones out. So she goes, she turns, she looks back at me again. And now she knows something's here, but she's not sure what it is. So she turns around, she comes back out and she goes behind. I was like, okay, this is my chance. When she comes back out, I'm going to get her. I drew back. I got ready. She came out and she quartered to me a little bit and was staring at me. And I just let it fly. And I hit her just right. And she went about 100 yards and I got her. So that was, so I didn't get, like I was frustrated. I didn't get my buck. I was like, that's the way it goes. I mean, that's hunting, that's fishing. You don't get everything you want. That's how business is. So
totally.
You just like keep going, keep plugging away. And then that opportunity popped up and I seized the moment. So yeah, it was fun.
I feel like that's marketing in a business. You have all these grand ideas and you're like, I'm going to do this thing and here's exactly how it's going to work. And I know we're going to get this many leads. And then sometimes it's like, crap. Like either our sales process was wrong or, some X, Y, and Z kind of went wrong in our execution and it didn't pan out. And then like this other thing, this thing was what, made it work. And you just you always have to be opportunistic. Like the minute you let your guard down, all of a sudden there's an opportunity right in front of you. And you're like, oh man, like be on your toes.
So, and I know you talked about game cams and stuff too. So the buck I wanted, he was a 10-point and he had a little kicker on his, and I've never shot a buck with a kicker or downtime or
drop time.
Drop time. There we go. So that's what I like. Oh man, I'm getting him. he was about a year younger than what I want to be.
Yeah.
So he's popped back up on the cameras again, and he's been fighting so much he broke 2 tines.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, now I don't want to shoot him. No one else is going to want to shoot him.
Yeah.
So
he gets the pass now. Now he'll be a monster with a huge kicker.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So
there's something to there's a raised level of intensity. Like I love sitting up in the stand and getting that like view to observe. And like you said, so much of it is just watching the world happen. Rob's out. I know he's got another long one tomorrow. But so much of the joy is just the observation of the world happening because it's so rare. And I think this is for everybody, but especially for business owners, like we're constantly going and we're constantly moving, and to be intentional about sitting still for a while. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to do that as much as we should. Hunting is a great recourse to do it. And like you're still doing something. So it still fits our idiom of like, we got to be doing something, but it's intentionally doing nothing. That is the something that you're doing is just sitting out and watching the world. And man, it's beautiful. It's just so freaking cool being out there. And like you said, the bobwhite's chirping and the sun coming up. And especially when you get those cold mornings and there's like frost on everything. It's just tough to beat. It's tough to beat. And if you get to put a little meat in the freezer, but I was gonna say, like, there's another level of intensity when you're on the ground and have that encounter. And there's just nothing between you and them. And it's like, it's just, I mean, I'm gonna say it just to paint the picture, but it's just a doe. But man, when you're like, it can be a big buck and you're up in a tree and your heart's thumping and it gets really real. It can be a fawn when you're on the ground. And when it's like 5 yards from you and you're like not moving, feels like your heart's gonna fly right out of your darn chest. It's it gets so intense. It's wild. It's
and you know they're close enough. If you make eye contact with them,
they see right into your soul. Yeah, they see right into your soul.
They see you because that's how close they are. But if you don't look at them and you're camoed, you're usually pretty good, especially if you got your scent, mastered. So right. That. Yeah. And that happened to me the next night. I was sitting there and I had two big bucks come right behind me. I could see him out of the corner of my eye, but I couldn't look over to turn at him. And he walked right behind me. And I'm like, man, I can't believe like he's downwind of me now. I thought he was going to like run off and he didn't do it. I was like, okay, my scent's better than I thought it was. So,
got him fooled. You feel like a goalie in the NHL. Like puck's behind me somewhere. Which way am I?
Yeah, there you go.
I shot a nice buck in Illinois this year, and beautiful morning in the rut. But it was like 9:30, and I hadn't seen a deer yet. There was one kind of where I'd gone in and I hunt out of a saddle a lot of times when I'm bow hunting, so like a harness system. And so like climb the tree with the sticks, and I'm making noise, and I'm just hoping that I sound a little bit like a deer making my noise. I had to literally the tree that I wanted to get to is just surrounded by understory, and I had to crawl to it. Like I couldn't walk to the tree. There's so much brush. I had to like snake like weaving through branches and then like pop up right next to it. And I'm breaking some branches there. And there was a deer in that area when I walked in. I heard it walk away, but I didn't blow it out. It didn't blow at me. It didn't run. It just kind of moved off. It knew the big dog was in town, is what I was thinking. It didn't want to fight me. So I got up the tree, but I was expecting this like cold morning, the rut. I'm in a good funnel. They should be moving and grooving, and a couple 2-3 hours go by and nothing, not a deer. And so I'm kind of having that feeling where you're like, am I just did I scare everything coming in? Oh, am I in the wrong spot? Are they rutting? Is like all the does are over there and the bucks chasing the does over there? Yeah. And about the time the thought of like, man, maybe I got to move. Like maybe it's just not happening here. Because when you're sitting there and not seeing stuff, you always feel like an idiot. Like I chose the wrong spot. How stupid am I? Why would I have picked this spot? They're probably over there seeing all the deer. So I'm starting to have that debate in my head. And all of a sudden I hear scuffling around behind me and then a grunt. And I kind of turn in a saddle. You're like facing the tree and the deer I'm hearing are behind me, and you can swivel but with a vertical bow, you then have to like put the bow over your ropes to turn, and that's super awkward to shoot off to your right. It's doable. You can kind of shoot the whole way around the tree in the saddle, but kind of that kitty corner right behind you off your right shoulder gets real tough for a right-handed shooter. And I turn that way because that's where the deer are, and I'm like, uh-oh, like there's a buck, there's another buck, there's a buck chasing a buck. There's
man,
like there's got to be a hot doe right in here. And I saw a nice buck coming up towards me. I'm like, I'm shooting him, but now I'm like, he's gonna do the thing that your deer did, which is like he's gonna come right behind me. And there's not a lot of wind, but and I'm learning more about like the thermals and how hot and cold air move. And I'm thinking my thermals are going up by 9:30, like the air is starting to heat up. And so if it was an hour earlier, and I'm pretty ridiculous about scent control, so I've shot big bucks downwind of me before they got me. I think if they're there long enough, they're always going to get you eventually. But if you can buy yourself a minute, then that's another minute. You got a chance to get the right shot, the right angle, whatever. And so I'm just I'm like naked up in this tree. There's no cover for me. I'm just in this bean pole of a skinny tree as high as I can get in it. Just like, hope they don't see me up here. But during the rut, you can get away with a lot of stuff because they're doing their deer thing. And the first buck was coming right behind me. I could hear other deer running around with them. And so I had to quick, like, get my bow back over my strings and like spin all the way around. And by the time I did, and I got pulled back, and you know how it goes, it happens so fast. Like, you just have to be ready. I got pulled back and I got anchored, and that first buck was through like the opening. And I thought about giving him a mat to try to stop him, but he was like already through. And I'm just looking for a nice shooter buck. I'm not like counting points or anything. I'm public land hunting. So I'm just like, if it's a nice buck, if it's 120 inches or 170 inches, either way, I'm going to let an arrow fly at it. And it might not be as big as I hoped it would be, but it's a cool buck on public land. If I get one, they're all cool. And so that first one goes through, and I'm kind of like, all right, I'm watching him, but out of the corner of my eye, I see buck number 2 coming, and I couldn't tell. I thought I saw like some junk on his rack, but I've screwed up enough big bucks to know to not look at their antlers. Like, whatever you do, don't look at their antlers. Like, especially if it's public land, like if it's private land, you're a little more like, is that this buck or is it this buck? And so I'm just like, he's cool. He's big. I think he's bigger than the first buck that went through. And so I gave him the mat, but there's too much. He's too interested in kicking this other deer's butt. Like, he's chasing this other buck away from the doe. Yeah. And so I gave him the mat, and he didn't do anything. And he's still going through my opening, and I'm like pulled back, ready to go, but he's walking, and I don't like to shoot a walking deer if I don't practice that shot enough to feel really confident. So I gave him another mat louder. And I think the third one was a, hey, like that was all I could go with. I just couldn't get this deer to stop. And of course he like locks up, but his vitals are right behind the one tree that was down there that I was like, I need to stop him before he gets there. The nice thing about the saddle is you can sway a little bit. So I just kind of leaned back. I still had to shoot a little bit farther back than I wanted to, but let one fly. I didn't have time to range him because it just happened so fast. And I was like, he's got to be 20. He ended up being 25. I hit him a little low and intentionally a little farther back, but I hit liver. We left him that day. I shot him 50 yards from the road. Like, this spot is like this, we call it the sneaky spot. Like, when you go in there, you go in without a headlamp on because you don't want anybody to drive by and be like, oh, there's somebody hunting there. Like, we don't want anybody to know, like, and I've shot another big buck out of that same tree a couple of years ago. And so I was like, man, I know I hit him back. We got to leave him for 6 to 8 hours. Like, I don't want to kick him up. He's right on the edge of private. If he goes hauling off, if he's not dead and we go looking for him, then who knows where he goes. So we left him overnight. That night, Cole Sycophus, I don't know if you know Cole. He's up in Canton, Washington. He shot a nice 8-pointer on same trip. We were hunting together. So I had the excuse to like go help him with his buck. And then I had a buddy to go help me with mine the next day. So we were back in there the next morning, and my buck had gone 50 yards just down into this hellhole of a ravine and just laid down in the bottom of it. And he was laying right there. So it's just one of those situations where it's like,
Nice.
I mean, it's why hunting can be so fun, is it can be so boring for so long, and you love it, right? And it's part of the experience, and it goes from 0 to 1 billion miles an hour in like 2 seconds, and all of a sudden it's like, it's happening. Like everybody take your positions, be ready. It's happening right now. So love like the highs and lows. And we talk about that in business ownership all the time. Like owning a business is extreme highs and extreme lows, like more than any other job or profession that you could have. You feel the emotional swings and highs and lows of a business. And I don't know that there's a parallel to it more so than bow hunting and the highs and lows that come along with bow hunting. And when you finally see, when you got them on the ground and working them into the freezer, like that's a high that lasts a while.
So this is the first year I've done this, because I heard somebody say something, and you just mentioned it too, about going in without a light. So this area where I hunt, it's like my grandpa used to say this. He goes, "You got to remember, Michael, that's their home.
Oh yeah, they know.
If you're not careful, they know you're there. Any little sounds around, like they know you come in. They know that if you." And we generally walk with a pace. Like no wild animal walks with a steady pace.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take your time, if you're stalking something, you take 1 or 2 steps, you hold on, take another 1 or 2 steps, hold on and wait. Because that's how,
that's how a deer moves. Yeah.
That's how they move. And even cattle will move like that because they're grazing.
Yeah.
So if you just do a constant, like it gives away that you're a hunter or a human, so to speak. But so anyway, I saw this guy, he came on, he goes, "Don't use a light when you go out." So I'm leaving at dusk, I'm going in at night, and it's a new moon. So I'm going in the morning, 2 hours before sunup. Yes, because about an hour before down here, you start getting faint light before sunrise.
Yep.
And so I go in an hour before that so I can get set up and get in my spot. And it's a new moon. And when I go down into this little valley, like it's just grays and blacks.
Yeah.
And I'm walking into mesquite trees.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to see the grass and the ruts in the road, and I'm feeling the ground with my feet as I walk. So I'm staying in the ruts. And I do think that's one reason why I saw so many bucks that morning, is because I didn't go in with a light on, and I wasn't scaring off all the game before I got there.
Yeah.
So it's, and it's just, and business is kind of like that too. You start using your instincts. Your instincts start to develop over time, and you start realizing like, hey, I'm feeling my way through this, but because I've done these things before and I know what to expect, I can get my way through here. So
it takes me back to talking about like expectations and trust and leadership, kind of how we open the conversation, which is when we first start running a business, we're like, well, this is how it should be. And we just walk full speed.
Yeah.
Right? And everything hears us coming and is just like, oh, like we blow up our own situation without even realizing it sometimes. And the more you hunt, go back to the hunting side of it, like you do get so cautious walking in. And like the more you do it, you're equally cautious walking out, because you don't want to blow it out on your way out if you're gonna like hunt there again. And it's a lesson I'm trying to teach my kids, is like every step has a purpose, and the pace has a purpose, and the twig that you're about to step on and break have a purpose to not step on that twig and not drag your heel. Like I'm always trying to teach them, like you can do heel toe or toe heel, or just like kind of on your toes. But don't like no animal's walking through the woods with a heel drag as it like shuffles its foot, unless it's got a broken leg. Like somehow my 9 and 7-year-old, I don't take the 3-year-old. I've taken him a couple times, but I take my girls, like, and they'll climb the tree with me. I've got like a little saddle thing for them, so it's super fun. But I try to teach them, like, you got to be so intentional when you do, like, understand your surroundings, understand the perception of everything that's going on around you. And be purposeful about it. There's no reason that you guys that weigh 50 pounds should walk so much louder than I do. I don't know how you guys make so much noise, but like control your darn feet. We're trying to be sneaky here. We're ninjas. We're be sneaky.
What's funny is I can remember my grandfather saying those kind of things to me when he was teaching me. Now it's like it's all reversed.
Yep. You figure it out.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun,
Yeah.
especially with taking kids and then like just getting a little bit of success. My daughter Danny, who was in here earlier, we went out with the bow, but we had a bear tag, and so I wanted to get a bear. Second was like a lone doe. If I got a shot like a 1.5-year-old doe, that was kind of like second on my hit list. And third was a big old buck. And we had like a nice 3.5-year-old 8-pointer come out and had a chance at a doe, but she had one fawn. And like, I never like shooting a doe with one fawn because I kind of feel like the fawn's maybe not going to do so great if it's a lone fawn. If there's 2 fawns, maybe they'll team up and be able to like protect each other a little better. But we had a nice 8-pointer come out. And I think it was the first time, and like she's getting better about being sneaky and climbing the tree and sitting still, and to have a big buck at like 20 yards away from us and just watch it. And I never grabbed my bow or anything, but we got to watch him. And eventually he saw us because I think she was leaning to try to get a better look at him, and he spotted us and he did the thing that a mature buck does. He like went downwind and checked us out from down there for a while, and he wasn't sure, but he knew something was off. And he just kind of worked his way off. And that, like, I asked her after the hunt, like, what was your favorite part of that hunt? And we saw some deer. We climbed a cool tree that was like a challenge to climb. And she does American Ninja Warrior stuff. Like I gave her the option of like, hey, there's a ladder stand right here. Should we just go sit in that ladder stand? She's like, no, like I'm here to climb a tree and swing off a rope. Like that's the fun part for me is I want to do this hard climb. And so like cool hunt, saw a bunch of critters and squirrels running around and all that. She's like, that big buck was awesome. And I was like, yeah, it was. Like, now you get it. Now you see why we like do all the silly stuff that we do to be sneaky and cover our scent and walk slow and do all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you start to get a taste of success, like it starts to register. Same in business. Like once you start to see being better at recruiting paying off, or being better at setting expectations, or the PIPs and the following the processes, it just like reinforces, and it's so much easier to like not, it becomes muscle memory. You don't have to think about it. You just like know how to execute it.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great analogy.
Michael, we covered a lot of ground. What do we miss? You got any big hunting plans left? You still out hunting? You still got
no, our hunting season runs till the first weekend of January, so I'm still hunting. I haven't gotten that buck yet. So that's my daughter calling, like, where you at, Dad? So, just a second. I'll be home soon. I'm just finishing up.
All right.
All right, take care. Bye.
Checking in on the old man.
Hold on. What's going on here?
And now that AI was listening, it's talking to you.
Yes. Some app is open on my phone.
I saw the comment come through earlier. My father-in-law, Marty, checked in. He said, I've been watching for a while. I'm waiting for Danny to make an appearance, but I'm out now. He came in after Danny showed up.
Michael's default 7 MH2025.
There it is.
You're too deep in AI. It's starting to take over your office, Michael.
Okay, I'm back.
It's taking over. The AI is taking over. So you got a few weeks left. Oh, he's got no volume.
My speaker for you is not working.
The AI has taken over. It changed. We'll see if we get Michael back here to close it out. If we don't, we'll wrap it up.
There we go. That's turned off.
We got her back. We got you back on the audio. I meant to make this announcement while Michael's working on his sound. I meant to make this announcement earlier. There's a couple new trade shows, and one that is an existing one. Did you get it?
If I can hear you. I still can't hear you. I lost you. My speakers are messed up now.
He's out. He's out. All right. We'll call it good. We'll call it good.
Take care.
See you, Michael.
Great talking with you, Dan.
Yeah, you too. Even though you can't hear me, you too. So guys, go check it out. If you're in landscape lighting, Lighted Up Expo is coming up. I think it's in early to mid-March, Lighted Up Expo. There's CleanCon coming up in March as well. And then Commercial Pressure Washing Contractors Live out in Vegas is coming up. I think it's February 26th, 27th. Did you hear that, Michael? Did you get some volume on that?
I just got volume back.
There,
yes.
Hey, there we go.
I just heard Vegas.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's the Commercial Pressure Washing Contractors Live. It's a new conference that Robert Einstadt's putting on in Vegas in late February. So I was just I meant to announce some conferences that are coming up on my last show, and I totally forgot to do it. So I figured, well, your volume wasn't working, I should probably do my job as like a show host and do the announcements that I'm supposed to do. So
that's good.
Throw those in at the end. We'll get that in there. We can check that box. But man, so good to catch up with you, talk a lot of business, talk a little bit of hunting. Good luck if you get out late season here, get that buck back on camera and chase him down.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
I guess you probably put the pass on him now that he's just missing a couple times.
I have. I'm trying to get another one now, and
you got a new top dog on the hit list.
Yeah, there is.
There's always a buck.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, man. I'm going out with the muzzle loader with the smoke pole this weekend.
Nice.
We got muzzle loader in Wisconsin, so my dad and I have a mission to knock down a couple does. Hopefully,
there you go.
We'll see.
Nice, very nice. I've never hunted with a muzzle loader.
It's fun. Like it's just different, but it's somewhere between a bow and a gun. Like you get one shot, and your range is extended, but it's not like shooting a rifle by any means.
Yeah.
And then when you shoot, you're just looking through a cloud of smoke and the deer's gone. And you're like, did it drop or did it run away? Like it's all the smoke from the gunpowder going off.
Yeah.
So it's unique. It's a unique experience, especially, I mean, like up in Wisconsin, it'll be like 10 degrees out. That smoke hangs when you get cold air with no wind. That smoke just like half of it's the steam from the heat and half of it's the smoke from the gunpowder going off. And you're just like hanging out in this cloud, wondering when it's going to dissipate and you'll be able to see if you got your deer or not. So
yeah,
looking forward to it. Well, good catching up with you, Michael. Let's not, we won't wait so long to do it. Hopefully I see a Facebook post or two about a deer down in your neck of the woods down there yet before the season wraps up for you.
Yep. Sounds great.
All right, man. Business nerds, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. We'll see you next week. See ya.